Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Call me Mr. Tibbs.
Bazinga!
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry holidays! Happy Christmas, a Merry Hanukkah, a crazy Kwanzaa, a tip-top Tet, and a solemn and dignified Ramadan. With Christmas 2020 just a couple of weeks away, I figured that your mad expert, me, should put up a real review list of my top holiday movies. With thousands of movies, TV shows, holiday episodes, featuring stories, specials, surprises, etc. to choose from, I'm going to list my 5 favorite movies. No easy task, I promise you. Before we start, 2 things. This hat is annoying. Plus, it's too hot in the studio for it. Crying out loud. I don't even have a window on that side of the studio. It was just the Christmas tree, nothing important. And 2, I'm going to limit this to theatrically released movies. Maybe next year I'll do a top 5 TV specials or TV show list. I'm picking my favorites and letting you know why they should be on your essential holiday viewing list. Keep in mind that as the mad expert, I can assure you, I've seen so many that narrowing it down to only 5 was difficult. I'm not going to list them in the order of worst to best because as far as I'm concerned, these are all tied for first place among the plethora of motion pictures presented predominantly as perfect pleasure producing pastime. Pass on, pass over, or participate as my partners in a pleasant preoccupation. The order I'm listing here is my chronological viewing schedule that I traditionally use every year. There is a sort of logic to my order, as you shall see. Okay, starting on or a day or 2 after Thanksgiving. Because let's face it, if you decorate your house or play a single Christmas carol before Thanksgiving, every time you do, a reindeer drop kicks an elf right in the jingle balls. Look it up. It's true. Since this film opens on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it's always my choice to kickstart the holiday season. If you haven't guessed, Miracle on 34th Street. The 1947 version. It's been remade a few times, once as a made-for-TV movie, and once in the 90s with the Jurassic Park's Mr. Hammond, Sir Richard Attenborough, as Kris Kringle. But none of the remakes capture the pure heart and feel-good spirit as this first one, with a precocious, very young Natalie Wood killing it as a little girl who is firmly grounded in reality and has no desire for fantasies or make-believe, and the best version of Kris Kringle ever put to celluloid. Ever. Among thousands of Santa Claus portrayals, none are anywhere as good as Edmund Gwenn. Those of you that have never seen this film, what the is wrong with you? I mean, it's been around for over 70 years. The basic plot revolves around a department store Santa, the most famous department store in the world, New York's 34th Street branch of Macy's. And the idea is he believes he is the actual Santa Claus. Examined by head shrinkers, forced into court to defend his position, it hits all the right notes with a Capra-esque ending to rival that of one of my other top 5 choices. But before I get to that film, let me get on to my next classic. This is another one, 1956 musical White Christmas, with Bing Crosby, Vera Ellen, George Clooney's aunt Rosemary, and my personal favorite musical comic star, the uber-talented and under-celebrated Danny Kaye. Some of you know him best as the court jester, who must remember that the pellet with the poison is in the vessel with the pestle, and the chalice from the palace has the brew that is true. White Christmas is a typically sugary sweet, feel-good film that takes place shortly after World War II and follows the career of 2 radio and nightclub entertainers that got together because of a life-changing event. Okay, sometime after the war, these 2 army buddies meet up and romance 2 talented sisters, played by Vera Ellen and Rosemary Clooney, and come to the aid of their former commanding officer. Sadly, he's fallen on hard times, and in order to help him out, they must put on a show in the old barn. Yeah, I know. The oldest, corniest Hollywood movie musical trope that had already been overdone by the time this film was made. Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland must have made a dozen films with that exact plot. But let's face it, it's a Christmas movie, and it's meant to be schmaltzy, and succeeds immeasurably. The musical score is filled with classic numbers, including Crosby's most famous song, White Christmas, and a wonderful duet of the song Count Your Blessings Instead of Sheep with him and Clooney. Also, Heat Wave, Blue Skies, and many more songs round out the score. From fun and amazing dance numbers, look for Vera Ellen's performance here. She's just splendid. All the way to the elaborate sets and lavish costumes. This is another feel-good movie filled with lots of eye and ear candy that should be watched with the whole family. And if you're not humming one of the songs to yourself when it's done, there's no hope for you. Next on my list, as the holiday gets closer, and after I've watched a few thousand of the other holiday films and TV shows, I'll cue up the film that defines the Capra-esque ending. It's a story that at times can be ominous and heartbreaking, yet also optimistic and encouraging. It covers childhood through adult life of one George Bailey and takes us on an emotional ride that shows us no matter how dark things may seem, we can likely discover that it's a wonderful life. See what I did there? Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed head up a cast of characters that only director Frank Capra could do justice to. This plot has been done again and again in one form or another in the 75 years since its release. There was a TV remake where they flipped the genders of the two main characters, with Marlo Thomas as Mary Bailey. There are so many variations, you must have seen one at some point. The ending is such an uplifting scene that any other film with a feel-good ending has been dubbed Capra-esque after the director. Featuring Drew Barrymore's great-grandfather Lionel as the cold-hearted Mr. Potter and Thomas Mitchell as the absent-minded Uncle Billy, it is the quintessential holiday classic film. Also, if you pay close attention, you'll note the cop and cab driver's names were most likely the inspiration for a certain Sesame Street Muppet duo. Which brings me to my next choice. As it gets closer to Christmas Day, the fourth one on my list is one of the hundreds of versions of a ghost story that became a holiday standard, A Christmas Carol. There are so many variations of this that even I have not seen them all. There are silent versions, TV versions, a musical with Albert Finney, a modernized comedy with Bill Murray, an awesome animated version with Jim Carrey, but the hands-down best adaptation with the most notable performance of Ebenezer Scrooge ever by Michael Caine is The Muppets Christmas Carol. If you haven't seen this, you're doing yourself an immense injustice, with Gonzo the Great and Rizzo the Rat narrating this take on the Charles Dickens classic. Passages are lifted directly from the original narrative. It is fun to watch Gonzo and Rizzo recite Dickens passages. Also, Kermit and Miss Piggy as the Cratchits, and every other Muppet imaginable in key roles. This is probably my favorite holiday musical. The reason is because Michael Caine plays Ebenezer with such dramatic flair, never once playing for laughs or cheap gimmicks. He cements the film's lighter flair by playing it straight. It's this contrast between his dramatic veritas and the silly Muppets that perfect this into what should be a film classic. The musical numbers are fun and romantic, hitting the correct chords at the correct moments. Sadly, for reasons I do not agree with, there was a love song in the original theatrical release that was removed from DVD and video releases because some idiot at Disney thought it would go over the heads of kids. Hey, Disney, if you're listening, please fix that and release an original or director's cut with that song. In the movie links that I always include with my reviews, I will also include a link for the song of which I speak. Give it a watch, and if you aren't bawling at the end like a kid who didn't get dessert, then you're an inhuman. Christmas Eve rolls around, and by that day, if I'm not completely worn out by the incessant Christmas carols that have been playing in the stores since Labor Day, I will start up my favorite holiday movie that is usually playing on a loop on TBS or TNT for 24 hours straight, from Christmas Eve to Christmas Day. And I don't care. I'll leave it on and running. I'll recite dialogue along with the characters. Released in 1983, it takes place somewhere in the 40s. In a small fictional town in Indiana, it's based on the Gene Shepard novel, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. I'm talking, of course, about the Peter Billingsley, Melinda Dillon, and Darren McGavin perfection, A Christmas Story. This is Ralphie Parker's story of the campaigns he subtly and sometimes ridiculously partakes in to convince his parents through subterfuge and chicanery that he should be gifted an official Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range model air rifle. But at every turn, he's thwarted by the classic mother BB gun block. You'll shoot your eye out. That deadly phrase, honored many times by hundreds of mothers, was not surmountable by any means known to kiddom. The other mini adventures and childhood memories of that fateful Christmas are so much fun, especially because of the running narrative provided by the author, Shepard himself. I'm surprised the film didn't win a major award. I've been known to quote from that film ad nauseum, and sadly, have lost many a girlfriend during viewings because of my recitation of the dialogue. Hey, it's not my fault that so many people are fragili. Must be an Italian word. Okay, I hope that this segment of The Mad Expert, me, Michael Menza's Real Review, helped pick out a couple of classics for your holiday viewing. I'm sure most of my viewers have seen most or all of these. If you haven't, you need to. Next year, I'll drop another 5, maybe TV specials. I'm not sure. Okay? Happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Yes, I think that covers all of them.